In recent days, tensions in the Middle East have reached yet another critical point. The ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas has continued to draw international concern, and now, former U.S. President Donald Trump has entered the conversation with a bold and unexpected message. Trump has publicly urged Israel to halt its bombing campaign in Gaza, calling for immediate restraint and dialogue. Meanwhile, in a surprising twist, Hamas has conditionally accepted a new peace proposal, signaling, perhaps, a narrow but crucial opening for diplomacy. The world watches as both sides stand on the brink of either escalation or a fragile step toward peace. Welcome to Planet Stream, your trusted source for global updates, real-time analysis, and deep insights into international affairs. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and stay tuned till the end, because today's story could reshape the balance of power in the Middle East. The story begins with Trump's latest statement that took the global media by storm. Speaking at a press briefing in Florida, Trump emphasized that Israel must pause and reconsider its ongoing military operations in Gaza. He called the bombings disproportionate and warned that continued airstrikes could destroy the possibility of peace for generations. For many, Trump's comments came as a shock. Throughout his presidency, he was known as one of the most pro-Israel leaders in modern U.S. history, moving the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, recognizing Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, and maintaining close ties with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Yet now, Trump's tone appears to have shifted dramatically, appealing for restraint rather than retaliation. Analysts say this move is likely political, but also strategic. Trump, who has hinted at another presidential run, may be positioning himself as a global peacemaker, contrasting himself with current U.S. leadership, which continues to support Israel militarily while calling for measured actions. By calling on Israel to stop its bombing campaign, Trump presents himself as a pragmatic negotiator, someone capable of bringing people to the table in a world tired of war. Meanwhile, across the Gaza Strip, the situation remains dire. Entire neighborhoods have been reduced to rubble. Humanitarian agencies warn of an unprecedented crisis, with hospitals overwhelmed, electricity scarce, and food supplies dwindling. The United Nations has reported that over 80% of Gaza's population has been displaced since the fighting began, with refugee camps now operating far beyond capacity. It is against this tragic backdrop that Hamas issued its latest statement. Through a spokesperson in Doha, Hamas announced its conditional acceptance of an international peace plan, a proposal reportedly backed by Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey. The conditions, however, are significant. Hamas demands 1. An immediate and complete ceasefire. 2. Withdrawal of Israeli forces from the Gaza border areas. 3. Unrestricted access for humanitarian aid and medical teams. 4. International guarantees that Israel will not resume hostilities. In return, Hamas has expressed willingness to release several hostages and to enter direct political talks under international mediation. This is the first time in months that Hamas has publicly signaled openness to negotiation, leading some observers to believe that the group may be under intense pressure due to battlefield losses and internal strain. On the Israeli side, reactions to Trump's call and Hamas's statement have been mixed. Prime Minister Netanyahu's office released a short, firm response, saying Israel will continue to defend its citizens against terrorist attacks and will not bow to outside pressure. However, within Israel itself, public opinion appears to be shifting. Anti-war demonstrations have grown in major cities like Tel Aviv and Haifa, as families of reservists and civilians plead for de-escalation. Political analysts point out that Trump's intervention, while controversial, could influence Israeli leadership. Trump remains highly respected among Israel's right-wing factions, and his words might carry enough moral weight to prompt at least a brief tactical pause. If Israel does scale back airstrikes, it could open the door for renewed international mediation. In Washington, the Biden administration's reaction was cautious. A spokesperson from the State Department said, "We continue to support Israel's right to defend itself, but we also urge steps that can lead to lasting peace." However, Trump's remarks quickly overshadowed official statements, dominating headlines and social media discussions. Within hours, hashtags like #TrumpEasplin and #CeasefireNo trended globally. At the same time, global leaders weighed in. The European Union welcomed Hamas's conditional acceptance as a potential turning point. Turkish President Erdogan praised Trump's remarks, calling them a sign of leadership in a time of silence. In contrast, Israeli officials accused Trump of political opportunism, warning that his statements could embolden militant groups. Yet beyond politics, the humanitarian crisis continues to deepen. In Gaza City, rescue teams work tirelessly under the sound of drones and collapsing buildings. Entire families sleep in the open, without water or electricity. The stories emerging from hospitals are heartbreaking. Doctors performing surgeries without anesthesia, children searching for missing parents, and humanitarian convoys waiting days for permission to cross borders. This is where the moral dimension of Trump's statement becomes clearer. Whether for political gain or genuine empathy, his words highlight a question that the world has long avoided: how many more lives must be lost before diplomacy becomes the only option left? Meanwhile, intelligence sources suggest that back-channel talks are already underway. Egyptian diplomats have reportedly been in contact with both Israeli and Hamas representatives, attempting to broker a temporary ceasefire. Qatar's involvement is crucial, as it continues to act as a financial intermediary and political messenger for Hamas's leadership abroad. The peace plan under discussion, according to leaks from Cairo, could involve a three-phase process. Phase 1, a full ceasefire and humanitarian aid entry for 72 hours. Phase 2, prisoner and hostage exchanges mediated by international observers. Phase 3, long-term political talks under UN supervision, with the goal of establishing a demilitarized Gaza governed by a joint Palestinian Administrative Council. It's important to note that Israel remains deeply skeptical of Hamas's intentions. The memory of previous failed ceasefires still looms large. Yet, as the fighting drags on and international criticism grows, even Israeli security officials acknowledge that total victory may be unrealistic, and that negotiation, however fragile, might be the only way forward. As we look at this situation from a global lens, Trump's intervention could be a defining moment in reshaping America's role in the Middle East. During his presidency, his foreign policy was often criticized as unpredictable, but it produced undeniable results. The Abraham Accords, which normalized relations between Israel and several Arab nations, were a significant diplomatic achievement. By invoking that legacy now, Trump may be trying to remind the world that peace is possible, even among historic enemies, when strong leadership steps in. However, critics argue that Trump's remarks could undermine the delicate balance of US diplomacy. Some see his comments as a way to score political points rather than a sincere effort to promote peace. Others believe that even if politically motivated, his words may still create momentum, because, at this point, any voice calling for de-escalation deserves to be heard. The emotional weight of this crisis cannot be overstated. Families across both Gaza and Israel are enduring unimaginable pain. On social media, Israeli mothers post videos pleading for the safe return of kidnapped children. Palestinian families share images of loved ones lost in bombings. These parallel tragedies expose a truth that transcends politics: the innocent always pay the highest price. In that light, Trump's message, to stop the bombing, resonates not just as a political statement, but as a moral one. Even if his motives are questioned, his words echo a global sentiment: enough is enough. As this story develops, the coming days will be crucial. Will Israel pause its operations? Will Hamas honor its conditions and genuinely seek peace? Will the international community finally act as a unified voice rather than divided factions? At Planet Stream, we'll be following every update, from Washington to Tel Aviv, from Gaza to the United Nations. Our goal is not just to report, but to help you understand the deeper forces at play: politics, power, and humanity, shaping the headlines you see. Before we wrap up, let's reflect on what this moment could mean for the future. If both sides take this opportunity seriously, the Middle East could witness the first real diplomatic opening in years. If they don't, the cycle of violence will continue, and with it, another generation will grow up amid war, loss, and fear. Donald Trump's voice may not solve this conflict overnight, but it might just change the tone of the global conversation, from revenge to restraint, from escalation to empathy. Whether you agree with him or not, his call for Israel to stop bombing Gaza is now part of the historical record, a reminder that even in times of endless conflict, there is always space for words that demand peace. Thank you for watching Planet Stream. If you found this report informative, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update on stories that matter most to our world.